Hello everybody. We're back at it. And to answer the question, because I see a lot of people talking about it in the chat before I jumped in, the guy on the far left of the town background, he's a liger, which is why he's so big, because they grow pretty large. I forget the exact reason why. I remember looking it up at some point. It's completely lost on me now, but they get really large. So that's what he is. Anyways, so today we're gonna do a coloring page from scratch. A lot of people have been asking what kind of festivals and celebrations and holidays and stuff that they would have in Graycove. And I came up with one today because it's spring out and I've been thinking about it. I decided that they would have their own festival to celebrate birds coming back in the spring, since birds are their main source of food, and large birds like emus and ostriches, kept as pets, they had service animals, I suppose, in terms of they can ride them like Russell does. And yeah, so they would get a large amount of resources from birds. So, the whole idea is just kind of giving thanks back to them and celebrating that they're coming back in the spring. I think this is going to be kind of a complicated one, so I don't know if we're going to be able to finish all of it today, all the line art and everything, like we did with the previous one that we did, the Halloween one, I believe. But yeah, let's jump into it. Can't hear music at all, really, because it's really loud on my end. And the settings are the exact same. The intro of this one is pretty quiet, so maybe just give it a minute. And I'll leave it before I make any adjustments. Anyways, let's jump in. Very low? Okay, I'll turn it up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So, I don't actually know what I want them to be doing. I kind of just have a vibe in mind for this entire festival. I want them to be wearing bird-like costumes, not fully covered or anything like that, but just even just little things like wearing feathers or having a bird mask on, stuff like that. So I think I'm just gonna start with a fun pose. I think we should start with Hazel. No feather headdresses, lol. Yeah, no. Okay, so I think I want them to be kind of small in the shot. They're gonna be obviously the central figures. That's too big. Because they're the main characters. Yeah, I kind of picture this festival being a very fun, carefree one. Making bird houses and stuff like that. Setting up those fun cones that some people make with the peanut butter and putting seeds and nuts in them for food. Making nests, and it's in the spring, so they could use loose shed fur for nest making, stuff like that. Marshall, what about pranks? I could absolutely see Russell cracking an egg on Griff. No, I think they would be not wanting to waste eggs on a day that celebrates birds. You know? That is a fun idea for Russell, though. That does feel like something that he would do. I wanted to have an egg fight for my bachelor party. That's true. Jasper really wanted to have an egg fight for his bachelor party, but apparently his friends don't want to be hit with eggs, which, weak, but alright. Okay. I feel like I want to give Hazel like a fun cloak that looks kind of like bird wings, because I've seen a couple pictures of those and I think they're really pretty. Or more like a shawl kind of, you know? So maybe she's showing it off, their arm up or something. Let me think about how I want to do this. Actually, yeah, I think something that kind of wraps around the front. Yeah, like this. Bat wings. Platypus lay eggs. Oh my god. Does the bird festival happen every year? Yeah, so it'd be like a fun spring festival. That they would do every year. Very important question. Marper, Marshall / Jasper, would Griff enjoy getting a massage? That is a very strange question, Luke. I want to say no. I feel like he would like his personal space quite a bit, and massages are usually from strangers. Okay, I want to give her some. I think she switches out her earrings for ones that have feathers on them. I feel like feathers make wonderful jewelry additions, and I think that they're super cute. So more of a beach vibes for him then? Yeah, I mean, it looked like you said in the thing you're trying to draw their best day ever. I feel like Griff's best day ever would be doing something by himself. Because he's not the most sociable guy around. And like his home life, he has so many little siblings, I feel like it would get, you know, pretty overwhelming sometimes. So if he had to have like a perfect day, it would be like solitary or with like one friend. For Russell, I would love if you gave him like a batwing accessory made of feathers. Batwing accessory made of feathers. I'm not sure if I know what that means. Like he's wearing bat wings? Because this is for birds, and bats are close to birds, but they're not technically, and they wouldn't be migrating. They would be staying like in Graycove. Marshall, what would Griff do with Bernard? Maybe they'll give an idea of what Griff likes. They probably, like, for them having like a fun night would be like going to a pub or something. Does Griff consider Hazel a friend? At this point in the story, no. It's been like 2 days. He considers her a coworker that he is stuck with. And while he, at this point in the story, is probably seeing more value in having her around than he did at first, I don't think that translates to, like, seeing her as a friend. I would have thought Griff considered Hazel a liability. I feel like that's something that kind of goes back and forth. Actually, I don't think I want the feather pattern on the inside. I feel like the inside of the shawl would be like a flat color with maybe just like a border on it. I'm picturing this as like a big knitted shawl. Okay, that's a good Hazel pose. Just for a good rough sketch. I'm not sure what I want Griff to be wearing yet though. I know I want someone, or at least some of the like background characters, to have like masks and stuff. I don't know if he'd be a mask guy. I'll do Russell first. I also don't know who Hazel's looking at in this scene, but we're just gonna kind of figure this out as we go, you know? Marshall, what's your favorite soda? Low-key, I like Squirt, but it's hated by everyone. I'm not really a soda person in general. I don't really buy it very often. I don't drink it very often. If I'm having soda, it's usually because I want something to mix like liquor with, and I don't even drink that often. But if I have to choose one, it's usually like root beer. Yeah, let's do Russell first. And I do want Russell to be on Beatrice, and she's gonna be wearing some very pretty things. So let's start with her. Let me just find a good picture of an emu real quick. That's a good pose. Okay. Emus are weirdly hard to draw, which you wouldn't think that they would be, because they're basically just an oval with a neck and 2 legs, essentially. So kind of got the shape going on. And her neck's gonna be about here. Head coming up. And I want her head to be kind of tilted upwards because she is wearing very pretty things and she knows that she looks very pretty on this day, even if she is a bird and doesn't understand what the festival is actually for. She's getting celebrated. You guys are going off in the chat. It is so hard to keep up. What kind of tea do you like? I don't know if that's at me, but if it is, peppermint. Okay. How did Russell get an emu? His parents bought him an emu baby when he was very young. Because I don't know if you know this, but emus are surprisingly good for security. Which is partially why they would have gotten him one. Because he is just a little guy, and they would have been worried about him being just a little guy by himself. So Beatrice is his very beloved pet, but also his guard bird, I guess. Yeah, very strange legs and feet. I don't like how these legs are looking. Let's try that again. She's also a little bit too big in this drawing compared to Hazel, but that's okay. Russell is not small, he's a big man, powerful man. Marshall, we need a drawing of Russell hugging Beatrice. Actually, maybe for this page. I don't know if this is the best pose, because I am picturing him sitting on Beatrice. Although maybe he could be standing next to her. If it's her special day, maybe he doesn't want to give her extra stress. Are there any back characters you're planning for the comic? We did sketch out one back character. I haven't actually shown him anywhere yet. He was going to be a mail bat. Like, delivers mail to people. So I have a sketch somewhere of like a bat holding out its wing, and there's just a bunch of teeny tiny letters like taped to the inside. And I think he was delivering mail to like a little mole guy that was just like sticking his head out of a hole in the ground. And I think I'm trying to think of what they would give her as like fun little decorative things. Maybe some like fun necklaces with shiny beads on them. I'm kind of picturing that they would paint little designs on her where her feathers are like really short. So kind of like giving her the spots that some people have. Giving her like a little blanket. And some little tassels on them, just little decorative things. Mic just dropped. I mean, I might just be talking too quietly. I was kind of muttering there. That's my bad. His face looks wrong when I don't give her her spots. Fix that. There we go. No like substantial difference between now and earlier. Crispy says it sounds okay. No, it definitely dropped. Oh, that's really weird. Okay, maybe if I take that off the mic. It's back. Are you sure you should? Okay. How does that sound? Is that a bit better? Jasper's messing around. Your mic is better now. Perfecto. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Good now. Sounds good. Okay, now what do I want Russell to be wearing? I bite the dentist on purpose. Jasper. Okay. Tilt Beatrice's head up a little bit. Giving her that expression of like, yeah, I know, look how pretty I am. I hate the dentist so much. Yeah, same here. When I was like 17, I had to get dental surgery along with like braces and stuff like that. And so I went to the orthodontist a lot, and it was not fun. The mic again? What? Well, if we don't have technical difficulties, it's not a stream. Just flip back. Okay, well that's good. Oh my god, the pop. Sorry. Bad time to have my volume up. Yeah, sorry about that. Picking up the computer fan now? Okay, well, we can't help that too much, unfortunately. One day we'll have a setup that doesn't get messed up every single week, but with a different problem. We should take the mic out of the splitter. Yeah. I remember being the person saying, maybe we shouldn't plug in the mic to the splitter, and you were like, no, it's fine. What is your mic, by the way? It's like a Rode some type. I don't know. It's Jasper's. I'm just using it. Marshall's always right. Yeah, you got that right, Crispy. I am always right, except when I'm not, which is often. Okay, I kind of want Russell to be... I know I said I didn't want Russell to be on Beatrice, but now I've changed my mind. Not usually about tech. That is true. I am usually wrong about tech. I am terrible with computers in general. Jasper's my tech guy. Okay, Russell will be looking at Hazel. Well, you're gonna get married, and as my parents have taught me, the wife is always right. Yeah, not always. I am not always right. Just a lot of the time. No, that's not true either. Marshall, do you have parents, or did you just randomly materialize? I materialized out of a bog, like a witch, 500 years ago. Part of me wants to give Russell a little mask, but the problem with giving him a mask is that it can basically just sit on his nose like this, doesn't... It wouldn't be very big. It kind of looks like a ski mask. Give it like a... We could either give it a long beak that covers his nose, like this. Oh yeah, my dad also got kicked out of school for slashing a teacher's tires. That's crazy. Okay, so we could give him a long one like this. That kind of looks like a plague doctor mask. Or we can give him a shorter one. Here, I'm just gonna draw a Russell face real quick. We could give him a shorter one like this, which also looks very goofy. This one kind of looks very plague doctorish, so I don't know how I feel about it. For Russell, we could give it like some feathers coming up like this to make it a little bit goofier. Yeah, but this one feels too silly. Let's get rid of this one. Theoretically, it felt like a cute idea, but once I put it on him, it just looked very silly. This just in, Russell's a splicer from BioShock. I don't know what that is. 1 second. I've played BioShock, but I didn't get that far. Oh. Those guys are fun looking. I'm glad I didn't make it to them. Well, maybe we can give him like little shoulder feathers. A little jester-esque. I didn't get that far the intro of the game. Liar. Okay, well, I don't really remember how far I got into BioShock. I tried playing the first one. Maybe I got decently far. I don't really remember. Maybe the whole point of the festival is that everyone pretends to be birds for some weird ritualistic purpose. Yep, and then they sacrifice someone to the bird god. Or maybe they do it because birds are cool. Yeah. Hey, any tips how to improve for beginner artists? I am banned and want to get all info I can get. Honestly, the biggest thing is just try to draw every single day, even if it's just like 15 minutes. Buy a sketchbook. You don't need fancy, expensive art supplies. A pencil and paper. That's really all you need to get started. And there's lots of practices that you can find online for like daily drawings. I always recommend the website Line of Action if you want to learn how to draw people, because it gives you figure photos that you can use for drawing people. They have the options for nude or clothed models, depending. And it's very helpful. But if you don't want to draw people, then ignore that advice. And if you want to draw cartoons, it is helpful to learn how to draw realistically first. Because once you can draw something realistically, you can draw it in any style you want. It's a lot easier to transfer one you know, realism into cartoonism, or whatever you want to call it. Or any other style, I guess. Draw on the walls with a knife. Marshall or Jesper would Russell understand Easter in the context of their own bird festivals? Like maybe they would think we celebrated bunnies because they provide us with eggs. I don't know if they would have any reference for what Easter is. I don't know how they would come across Easter things unless they like found a kid's book or something. Maybe he's carrying something for Beatrice. Maybe like a... because I know Jasper earlier said fruits. So maybe he has like a basket full of fruits that he's carrying around. Oh, I just got a freaky AI chatbot ad. I got an email earlier from a company trying to be like, these are ways we could improve your social media using AI, and I was so close to emailing them back with some like very, very rude things I don't want to say on stream, but I just decided to block their email instead. It's not worth the headache. Marshall, how tall are you? 8'9". Thank you for asking. Emu shed in the spring. New fact just dropped. Perfect. Then maybe the feathers he's wearing are Beatrice's feathers. He made a fun little shawl with them. Okay, we have these two now. Ignore the fact that Russell's missing an arm. I haven't decided what I want to do with it yet. Oops. Again, I only had the idea for this entire festival like 4 hours ago. So we're kind of just making up as we go. Oh no, what am I doing? That's way too tall. I wonder what Griff should be doing here. I feel like what Griff would enjoy doing for this festival would be more of the like making birdhouses. Let's all collectively not ignore the fact that Russ is missing an arm. So yeah, I don't think he would enjoy like the dressing up part of it. But I do think he would enjoy like making like homemade nests and making birdhouses and stuff like that, because I don't think he would get to do a ton of like crafty things very often, so I feel like that would be a fun thing for him of like, oh yeah, it's that day a year where I get to make a cool birdhouse and it gets hung up. How about... I kind of... Now that I'm thinking about it, for this picture, I kind of want them not interacting with each other. I kind of want them interacting with like other people from the town. So like you can see all three of them, but they're kind of each doing their own thing. So maybe we'll have Hazel on the far left, and she could be showing off her pretty shawl to someone right here. I don't know who yet. Or fold origami birds. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Origami birds would be so cute. One of my ideas for this is that they make like big kites. Like some of them that look like birds, obviously, but also just kind of like fun big kites that they all, you know, have flying throughout their festival. Maybe Russell's like kind of in the background a bit. And then I think Griff will be on this side. Maybe like sitting at a table. Okay. The other problem with this is I gotta start planning out what the background is gonna be. So let me just quickly throw down some perspective points. Do they make hand turkeys, but they're really weird because all their hands are weird? That's kind of a funny thought. Oh, right. Okay. On my other Photoshop, I have like a perspective point brush that I made specifically for work, and I forgot to transfer it over to this one. So that's annoying. But that's fine. We can make one real quick. Marshall, if you bring back Kip the Dingo, I'll give you my soul. Half full can of Pringles. I mean, I'll take you up on that deal, but I don't know how I'll collect. The dingo, which I'm not confirming whether or not that he's named Kip, because I haven't decided his name yet, will be in the comics more at some point. I don't know exactly when, but like, he'll be back eventually. You sticky keys. I'm so sorry that you had to hear that. I just went into settings to hopefully turn it off. I have like 2 accounts on my laptop, so I have my personal one that I use for most things, and then I have one just for streaming, so that, you know, if I go to open up something, or like if I close this window, you're not seeing all of my like personal files on my desktop and stuff. Which means that really dumb settings like sticky keys are still turned on. Alright, this isn't the most fun process, but you get to see what goes into making a background, I suppose. So right now we're making a perspective point, which is the like vanishing point in a scene where everything points towards. And we're gonna do a 2-point perspective background for this, I believe, because that is, I find easier for like these kind of big, really crowded ones. if there's like a big town layout that I'm making, this is generally, a 2.1 is usually what I go with. So we're going to take the first one, it's going to be on the left side, and I know I made it normal, but we're going to stretch it right out. And we're going to take the other one and put it way over here. We want to make sure that that pink horizon line lines up. And about there is good, I believe. No, let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. I'll take this one, stretch it out some more. There we go. I think that'll be good. If we're doing this perspective, then we gotta lower down Russ a little bit. Shrunken down, I believe. There we go. And then I'm gonna make a clipping mask on one of these and change it to a very bright pink so that we can see the difference in the lines. And the really thick one in the middle is the horizon line. And then we're just gonna bump down the opacity so that they're not glaringly in our face. There we go. And that's how I make perspective points in Photoshop. So do larger birds ever pick up smaller people like Russell? Yes. Yes, they do. That is a real concern that you have to have if you're smaller than... Honestly, some large birds can pick up deer. Like some types of eagle can lift a deer, which is crazy to me. You can find videos of that online and it's really weird to see. But I think for the most part, you're generally fine unless you're like a coyote or smaller, and then it's an actual concern that you have to like keep an eye out for, which is one of the reasons why Russell would have Beatrice. Marshall, should Russell's mask be a plague dog mask? Maybe he scavenged it and thought it was a good attire for the festival. Just repeating my message because I got lost in the chat. Sorry about that. That's not a bad idea. That's kind of fun. Bad news bears, everyone. Next week I can't attend the live stream because it'll be in Chicago. That's too bad. Let's switch back to the pencil. And now we can give Griff a table. And we'll just kind of... We're just very loosely following these lines. It's not perfect, but it gives us a good idea for the layout. Once you get into like the line art stage, then you want to follow them as precisely as you're able to. Okay, I think he'd be putting together a little birdhouse, so maybe he has it like half done already. Maybe he's got this kind of foundation down. He's putting together the walls. Sharks are older than trees and the North Star. Yeah, I don't like that fact. That fact is not fun. It's very interesting, but it's a strange one. I don't know, I have permission to write fan fiction about the dingo. I asked and you said yes. Yeah, I mean, we can't stop you from writing fan fiction, so like, go off. You know? We don't have the power to tell you no on that. Let's actually move him over a bit. He's a little too far in the corner. Well, maybe some of his little sisters are with him. Let's have Frankie and Knox here with him. The younger ones would probably be with their mom. But I could see the two middle ones wanting to hang out with their brother. You're telling me a gar licked the spread? Are you guys just throwing out fun facts now? That's cool. Okay, maybe little Knox can be at the end here. Okay, the one issue that I have with Frankie is I always forget which ear I made floppy, so let me just pull up my reference picture real quick. Reference pictures, little family. Okay, it's the right ear. Okay, I think Knox would take this task very seriously, and she'd be mostly copying what Griff is doing, because she sees success and is like, yes, that is what I must do to make the perfect birdhouse. Maybe just moving a little bit slower because she's only made a couple. And they can have like sticks and stuff on the table. And then I think Frankie's would be an absolute mess. I don't think it would be a usable birdhouse by the end, but she would have a lot of fun. She'd have a lot of fun making it. And if she had glitter, it would be covered in it. But unfortunately, they wouldn't have glitter because where would they get it? But she would have a fun time. Putting stuff together. I was gonna have Griff sitting, but maybe they can all be standing instead. Frankie misunderstood the assignment. Yeah. Okay, I made Nox's head too small. I know that Griff has a bunch of sisters, but are there any other brothers? Yeah, so there's four, like the four youngest ones. Two of them are boys and two of them are girls. So yeah, there's Lee, which Jasper spelt wrong there, which is short for Shirley, Jack and Griff, and they're all from one litter. There's Knox and Frankie, and then there was Luke, Nellie, Theo, and Monty. So Luke and Monty are boys, and Theo and Nellie are girls. And then Knox and Frankie are both girls. Microwave. Yes, we need Russell to provide Griff's siblings with glitter. Maybe even Jack can join in just to annoy Griff, lol. Marshall is Luke, the eternally sleepy one. Please say yes. Funny enough, I did have Luke in mind to be the one that's just perpetually sleepy in every single scene. He's one of the gray ones. 'Cause Nellie and Luke are identical, similar to Jack and Griff, where the rest of them are obviously from the same litter, but they're not like identical twins. Jack and Griff aren't identical. I mean, they're identical in every way besides their height. Identical. Yeah, I know how identical twins are made. It could have been anything that caused, like, Griff could have had like a health thing very young that just stunted his growth a bit. I don't know. I needed a way for people to tell them apart. And even still, people are always like, how do you tell them apart? And it's like, well, Jack's like a full, like Griff is only up to his shoulders. Jack is huge. Why did Griff's dad and the bear feel threatened when they saw Herb? I can't answer that, pal. That is a spoiler. Okay, there's some sticks on the table. In the womb, they can take more nutrients, so they end up bigger. Yeah, so maybe he just didn't get the same amount of nutrients. Maybe Griff got extra and that's why he's humongous. Are we gonna get her backstory? At some point. How do they source meat in Graycove? Birds and fishing. Okay. Decide who you think Hazel should be talking to right here. Jasper, maybe make a poll if we get a bunch of good ones. We have subtly shown as much her background as we kind of can, just in teeny tiny details throughout. Not like a crazy amount, and you gotta really look for them, and some of them are in panels where Herb is not there. And I'm not gonna say more than that. Charizard would be really little. Or wait, no. What was Charizard again? Was he let me look up his picture, because I'm kind of blanking. Was he like a Komodo dragon? No, I remember Charizard, but I'm also... Oops. Sorry, let me just quickly see if I can find him. What stream was he from? Not this one. Night Bean jump scare. Yeah, sorry. I gotta find... Yeah, okay, so I was thinking it was this guy that you guys were talking about. Wick. Okay, I guess Charizard is not from this one. No. Was he from the first one? Not that... How many of these streams have we done? No, he was the third one, I think. I opened the third one and I didn't see him. Oh, there he is. Yeah, no, he would be teeny tiny, guys. He's not gonna fit in this one. I don't think any of those guys fit. Okay, those are the rough sketches. And that's Night Bean. Maybe she can be in the background. Wait, the wagon lady? You're gonna have to remind me who the wagon lady is. The wagon otter? I mean, this character is still kind of too big. We could do the tufted deer that works at Macon's, maybe? What do you guys think? Hazel broke the wagon. Okay, you guys decide. Are we gonna do the tufted deer from that one short and also in the background? or Night Bean. Hazel's talking to Jack, obviously. Jack is not this short. We're looking for this guy. Okay. Survey says Night Bean. Okay. I gotta look up a picture of a llama. Or an alpaca, or whatever I decided she was. I should probably open up the... so I can actually remember what she looks like. Let me just export this real quick. Okay. So I don't think she'd be as tall as... well, their necks are pretty long, actually. Okay. So she might be taller than Hazel, but that's okay. We can adjust Hazel's head. I'm gonna move Russell over a little bit so that Night Bean is not just standing way too close to Hazel, because that'd be awkward. Hey, just wanted to let you know that your series is fire truckin' awesome and you deserve some support from a follower. You've made thousands invested. I think you deserve it. Well, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. We really appreciate that. It's always nice to hear that our series can make people so happy and excited. Okay. She has these kind of pom-pom earrings that I gave her. And she's got this long shawl. Marshall, if you ever run out of character ideas, I have like 74,000. I don't think that's gonna be a problem anytime soon. We keep coming up with very fun character ideas that we can't actually show anytime soon. But that is very nice of you, thank you. She has these little pom-pom tassels on the end of her cardigan? Shawl? I don't know what this would be called. And she would have her bird with her. Okay. Keep having to move Russell further and further over. Let's bump them over a little bit. Wait, I think I missed that. What are you guys putting on the board? Because, yeah, I don't have the board with me right now. I would have to leave the room. I like how Hazel's eyes are so small. Like she's terrified of the sheer presence of the one and only Night Bean. You know, I usually draw them really small and then I make them larger in the line art. Okay, let's move her slightly closer to Hazel without it being too close. And her feet would be a bit lower. And her raven or crow. I forget what we decided it is, but the drawing looks like a crow and not a raven, so. That's the cardigan of a green dealer. Yeah, for some reason, her whole outfit gives me the vibe of like she would sell essential oils and not realize that she's part of like a multi-level marketing scheme. And she would have a house full of crystals. Like, objectively too many at a point, you know? And that's coming from someone who thinks crystals are cool. But like, she would have too many, you know? Okay, then she has spots kind of all over the place. That's not going to be as important until we get to the line art and stuff, but just so I don't forget, I'll just throw a couple down. Yeah, exactly. She trained the crow to find shiny rocks and stuff for her. Now she has just too many. She doesn't know what to do with them. Okay. I'm kind of thinking because of like the kites and everything for this particular festival, that they would do it on near the shore of the lake so that they wouldn't get like caught up in trees and bush and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna just do a very rough sketch. Obviously, rough sketch, everything is still rough, of the lake shoreline. I think kind of like this maybe? And I think it would still be technically like it would still be within Graycove, because Graycove, one of its edges is against the lake. You can kind of see it in, I think, one of the backgrounds. The other end of the shore would be way over there, which thankfully makes the far background very easy, because it'd just be trees and stuff. And then I think that they would have some very pretty kites. So let's sketch some of these in. Kind of along the shore here. What shape are kites again? Make the kite look bird-like? Oh, absolutely. They gotta be bird shaped, you know? Or like, I think like, even if they had like basic shapes, like just like triangles, stuff like that, that they would paint birds on them. Kind of like this. This one could have its wings kind of tucked up, and maybe there's like a little trail of ribbons coming off of it. Kind of look like tail feathers. Unless it's a fish birds festival. No, I think they would have a separate festival for fish. I think, or I feel like if they had something for fish, it'd be kind of incorporated into another festival. Like, it wouldn't just be fish, it'd be like fish and something. I haven't thought about it enough yet to like have something specific in mind. But I think birds, because they're also like, they're kept as pets, and like people would keep chickens and stuff like that, that they would have more of an emotional attachment to birds than they would to fish. You feel? Let's put another one. Maybe one of them is like one of those box kites. Although now that I'm drawing this, I don't know how they would make this look like a bird. Maybe they would just put some like feathers on the side. Marshall and I are not opening that can of worms. What kind of worms? Oh, Discord. Yeah, no, we do not want to start a Discord. I'm already a part of too many group chats, and I don't have the energy to moderate one. We have the community tab on YouTube, and I don't think we're gonna do anything beyond that. The community tab has been very fun. It's cool to see what people post. Like, the fan art is crazy, and like, Crispy's making an entire video game, so like, I get so excited every time there's an update. Maybe there's someone out on the lake in like a boat. And maybe they have kites as well. There's some smaller ones in the background. I feel like I could make an unofficial one. Like, you can make an unofficial Discord server. That's not really up to us. That's entirely to your discretion. Again, we wouldn't be involved. But that is your choice. I use browser YouTube mostly, and community tab is not there. That's really strange. It should just be, when you look at a channel, there should just be like a little community like tab button. Cool. So this is gonna be kind of like the far background. I think they would make a nice big post. Russell's kind of standing in the way, so we're just gonna see parts of this. They would have a spot where they hang a bunch of the birdhouses made. Maybe they would have a couple of posts worth. I think I'm gonna push the shoreline back further so we can show more stuff happening in a like festival like environment. So it can be like way back here. 'Cause I think this would be a pretty large festival. There'd be like lots of people. Lots of people around. Okay, there we go. Hey Marshy, can you show the perspective lines again and talk about them for Dr. Pepper? Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna bump their opacity a little bit. couldn't donate last week, so here's both. And also I just want to get top donation this stream. I think this is the biggest. Also, I wish I had your patience for art. I barely get through one sketch. Thank you, Tiger Water. That is very, very kind of you. We appreciate your support. And yes, art definitely takes a lot of patience that I am surprised that I have. Right, okay. So the perspective line. So we're doing 2-point perspective here. The way that I make perspective lines in Photoshop is I use the hard round general brush because it has a fixed size. So even if you're using a pen like I am on this, because it has pressure sensitivity for most of the brushes, so like you can see here, pressure sensitivity, the harder I press the thicker the line is. That doesn't really work if you're using the trick of like click, shift, click to get a straight line, because you can see right here it starts really thin and then it thickens near the end. So I use the hard round one where there's no pressure sensitivity on it. And then you basically just decide where you want your horizon line and your midline, and then you just click and shift to make perspective lines. And for this one we're doing 2-point perspective, so there's a point way far to the left and way far to the right. And yeah, so we're using that as a guide for where we place items, and like, so like this table. And for a lot of this I'm just kind of eyeballing it, like the lake, these posts in the background, they don't really need the guidelines, but it can be helpful even just with the characters to kind of know how to place them. Thank you, Marshall, it helps to see. That's good. You could definitely find a way better, like someone going over it on YouTube who is not me, who would be able to articulate it a little bit better and probably give you some better tools and tips in doing this. I learned the traditional way, so we're using a light table and many pieces of paper, taped together with like pencil crayon lines. But like it works the same, just you're putting in a digital format, so the perspective point is still there, it's just way over here where you can't see it. Where in class we would have multiple pieces of paper kind of stacked like this and all taped together, so you have to draw the point there and then use a ruler to spread it all the way over here, and then you'd be drawing on another piece of paper on top of that. So it was a lot harder and way more time consuming. How do you make outfits? I always really like your design. There's a couple of different ways to go about that. Honestly, what I find the most helpful is to go onto websites and look for the vibe of clothing that I'm after, depending on the character. So like if it's a more like grunge character, I might look up grunge clothing and like punk clothing and stuff like that, and seeing different things that I like and kind of just sticking them all together and trying to get those like basic big shapes. And yeah, just kind of drawing a bunch of different outfits and then deciding which one looks the best but is also not going to be a complete pain to draw over and over and over again. Anyways, back to this. I thought it might be fun if there was someone using like a really big bird puppet, or like a couple of people like controlling a large bird puppet. And I don't know if this quite fits the vibe of the drawing, but let's just kind of sketch something and see how it looks. Yeah, exactly, like lion dancers, but it's a big bird puppet, and there's maybe just like 3 of them. And they're not doing like the crazy jumps and stuff that you can see lion dancers doing online. which looks absolutely crazy to me. They're so impressive. I would break my ankle on like the first jump. Right, okay. Big bird. I think I want the big bird to look kind of like a heron. Let me look up a picture really quick just so I... like a great blue heron. Because they would have those here. Maybe put them in the back running through the water. Oh yeah, maybe. Or they could at least be like along the shore. It could be like... something like this. I'm not sure who'd be carrying it. We'll decide later. Okay. These long necks. Maybe we'll move them forward a little bit. Okay, I probably need someone holding up this middle body, and then I think they would have some nice big wings coming off the sides. So you would have someone controlling over there, so you wouldn't be able to see it because the bean's kind of in the way. Maybe another one over here. Yeah, maybe something like this. This isn't necessarily the best composition because, again, I am kind of just making this up as I go. So, like, I might want to redraw this later for, like, an official coloring page. But this is a good way to get the ideas down, you know? Look up the jack-in-a-bird. They carry their babies near their chest so they have all the extra legs hanging down. And I think I have seen them before. I don't know if they would know what this kind of bird is. Where are they from? Oops. Yeah, they're from tropical regions, so I don't think that they would have any in this area. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go with a heron, is because, you know, they're in North America. Okay, and then I think I also want there to be a booth. Where do I want to put it where it's visible? I guess I could put it kind of over here. I'll put it on this layer. We'll follow these guidelines. Can you put a fox in Graycove? So far I've drawn 2 foxes in Graycove. There's Russell, and then there's a random background one from like 2 pages ago. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with the admittedly bad reason not to have weird birds. Okay. Yes, okay. They'd be following this line. Slope up. I don't know what they'd sell here. Probably like a food. Or some fun trinkets. Ooh, yeah, maybe they sell like shiny wind chimes and stuff. That would be cute. There's like cute little baubles and stuff on them. Maybe some feathers. Rocks and pieces of driftwood, stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe they sell those glass things you put in the window to stop birds from crashing into them. That's funny. I think for the most part, they wouldn't have a ton of glass windows. Like, they do have some, but I think some of the windows would just be wooden shutters that they would close at night. Yeah, something like that. Okay, what else could we put? I imagine that they'd be playing music and stuff during this, but I don't really have the space to show that. Maybe I'll sacrifice this half. We don't really need 2 full posts of birdhouses. We can have just the one. So maybe they can have like a little stage over here. Just a very simple one. Yeah, that's not good. You an ad for trade school? Graycove would sound like banjo. I mean, I keep telling Jasper that I really like the instrumental music from oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Is it the Blasting Company? They did the music for Over the Garden Wall, and they have some really beautiful instrumental music, and they just in their music in general they incorporate a wide variety of instruments, and I keep telling Jasper that that music gives me kind of Graycove vibes, or like if we were to make some kind of animation stuff like that and we had the budget to hire an actual band, that would be like my go-to. But he doesn't agree with me, so you guys go listen to their music. I think it's the Blasting Company. Let me double check really quickly. Yeah, it's the Blasting Company. They did the music for Over the Garden Wall, and they have some really beautiful instrumental music, and I keep telling Jasper that they that music gives me kind of Graycove vibes, or like if we were to make some kind of animation stuff like that and we had the budget to hire an actual band, that would be like my go-to. But he doesn't agree with me, so you guys go listen to their music. I think it's the Blasting Company. Because I think they have the right vibe, but Jasper does not agree. Okay, it is the Blasting Company. So yeah, you guys go listen to some of their music that's not just the Over the Garden Wall music, and let me know what you guys think. Because Jasper thinks that's just because I like their music, and maybe that's the case. But still. Anyways, okay. I think around this little stage where they're gonna have some people playing music, they would have just like some log stumps for sitting on. It's your world, you decide what fits, bro. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I am the god of this world. If I say it's the Blasting Company, it's the Blasting Company. But Jasper doesn't agree. Okay, I think they would maybe have like a little things here being like... It's like a little birdhouse decorating station. Maybe they'd have like a little banner. And Griff has just completely taken it over with his siblings so no one else can make any until they're done. Okay. I remember forever ago I started a painting of like animals playing instruments, and I'm trying to remember what instruments I gave each of them. I think I had a cougar playing the cello, so maybe they have something similar that would be different because I'm gonna have to come up with some fun design ideas for instruments for Graycove at some point. So this part, let's consider non-canon until I can sit down and design something a bit better, but it would have very much the same elements as already existing instruments, obviously. That's right, Dr. Jerome Marshall is the god and I am their son. Yes, my future husband is also my son in this context. Gross. I think in that painting I had a fox playing a fiddle because that's a very obvious choice. Are you engaged, Marshall? Yes, Jasper is my fiance. In fact, today I bought my wedding dress. I took the afternoon off to go wedding dress shopping with my mom, my mother-in-law, and my future sister-in-law, and because she is also looking for a wedding dress. So we went wedding dress shopping. As long as there's room for a frog playing a banjo, it's all good. Frogs are not sentient, I believe. That's what we decided on amphibians. Yeah, they're non-sentient. So that wouldn't work. I think in the painting that I remember almost making like 10 years ago, there was a coyote playing a banjo. Which we can't really fit too many other animals in this because they're behind Griff's head. Maybe they just have frogs as part of the band that just croak occasionally. Maybe on purpose, similar to the choir in Harry Potter. Wedding stream when? Yeah, no, we're not gonna be streaming our wedding. What's a good animal for this? Maybe something tall. Maybe the moose. Maybe a moose playing a guitar or something. Some kind of stringed instrument. Pretend that those antlers are better. I swear I can draw them. There would be people sitting around here, so maybe Kanisha or someone could be sitting here. And her daughter would probably be with her, but they can't really fit there, so let's assume that she's sitting next to her on the other side. Hurdy-gurdy. Sure, someone could be playing a hurdy-gurdy. What's another tall animal? What kind of animal would play a hurdy-gurdy? There's a coyote somewhere back here playing a banjo. Giraffe. Okay, sure. That's too short. I fully forget what a hurdy-gurdy looks like, even though at one point I did a lot of research because I wanted to get one. They're expensive. Yeah, we're not making this the plague guy. Okay, cool. And I usually have the crank at the end, but I kind of can't see that. We can't really see it anyways, because Griff's head is in the way. We'll save later. Maybe... Oh my god. Crispy, I can't believe you just gave us $50. Thank you so much for being so open with liking my game. It's so encouraging and reassuring. I'm afraid I'm being annoying with it. Haha, let this be a small thanks. Hope you look forward to the soon-to-be-released beta build release. I am absolutely looking forward to the beta release. I really hope you let me play it. I am so excited. We can absolutely do like a stream of it if you'd like, if you're comfortable with that. I will never be annoyed or anything by any posts that you make, that anyone makes on like the community page. but like especially like seeing the progress of your game has been so cool, and like the amount of work you've had to put into it, um like it's crazy to me, you know. Like I've been bragging to anyone I tell Graycove stuff about of like there's someone making a game. Like that's crazy to me. um So yeah, no, thank you. That is very, very sweet, but also just the fact that you're making a game is also very, very sweet of you. And I cannot wait. I can't wait to see it when it's ready. Right, okay. We're drawing things. I'm gonna put Griff's mom, I think, back here. She's enjoying the music. Thank you, thank you. I'm very grateful. I am very grateful. Thank you. But yes, you guys can play it on stream if you'd like. Excellent, because I would really like to. And like we might do, yeah, we'll 100% play it on stream, and like we might get into playing other games on stream eventually, because I've talked about wanting to like trying to build Graycove in various like building games, so like Enshrouded or Minecraft or something like that. I'm just worried that my laptop can't handle running a game and streaming at the same time. So we would have to like test it out first to make sure it actually works. But yeah, we'll do a little. Griff's mom will be over here listening to the music. One of the puppies, or probably more than one of the puppies, on her lap. Vance would also be here. I don't want him sitting here because then he's blocking the view, the very limited view that we have. So maybe he could be standing right here. Have you guys listened to Tomcat Disposables by Will Wood? I feel like the instrumental part of that song could fit Graycove. I know the topic of Graycove music kind of passed, but I just thought of this. I have listened to some of Will Wood's music, and I really like it. I don't remember if I've listened to that song specifically, because I tend to find like 2 songs by an artist that I really like, and then I just don't listen to any of their other music. I'll just appreciate that music until I forget about it, listen to it later, find a new song from them, and be like, wow, this artist is great. Why haven't I listened to this yet? Okay, Mercy, to listen to it later. Yeah. I feel like I have listened to that one, but I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Okay, then maybe... who would be selling the trinkets? I've been kind of thinking of the very, very old tortoise woman lately, so maybe she's the one making these wind chimes. I haven't really shown her in the comic yet. She's just been in I think like 1 or 2 of the shorts, the really old ones. But I had an idea for like a very old tortoise woman. Hey bros, I'm gonna head to bed. Hope you have an awesome night. Thank you, Crispy. Thanks for joining us. Hope we get to see you next time. Ah, shoot, music. Sorry about that. Every single time I forget to turn on the repeat button. And it's on shuffle, so it's starting like halfway through the playlist. One of these days I'll add more music to the playlist. Maybe she's showing off something. Okay, not gonna lie, I felt like something was off with the stream. It felt like it was strangely peaceful. Bullet also made the soundtrack for the game. Cannot pronounce that. The people who made that game are the same people who made the music video for Tomcat Disposables. That's cool. Okay, maybe Little Otter Lady is looking at it. Ailu, I think it's an Irish word. Oh, that's fair. If Graycove is medieval, does that mean that there are dueling mathematicians like back in the day? Back in the day, mathematicians would beef, and whoever solved a problem last was dishonored. I mean, that sounds hilarious. I didn't know that was a thing until this moment, so maybe. I'll think on it. I should have been a medieval mathematician. I would have been so fire at that. I would fail at that. I suck at math. I am really bad at math when I'm put under pressure. Like if someone walks up to me and is like, quick, what's 5 times 3? My brain just shuts down immediately, even if I know the answer. The fact that I'm put on the spot means I just completely blank. I feel like I still have trauma from those like timed multiplication sheets where they're like, you have 2 minutes, go, and like you had to like go as quickly as you could. Those just stress me out so bad. Quick, Marshall, what's 10 divided by 3? 10 is not divisible by 3. Nice try. The reason why Jasper's asking is because that is our wedding date that we picked out. But we've been making a joke because in Bob's Burgers in the first episode, Linda says our wedding anniversary is really easy to remember. It's 9-3. 9 is divisible by 3. So we keep joking like it's 10-3. 10 is divisible by 3. Which honestly is a great way for me to remember the date because I'm terrible with remembering dates. So if it's not a joke, I'm not going to remember. Okay. What else should we have? I want there to be more kites for one. Let's quickly throw in some placeholder kites. I feel like the sky would be absolutely full of them. And funny enough, we haven't actually drawn any birds. So there'll probably be birds flying around. If the mathematician loses, they get smacked by Hazel and posted on YouTube Shorts. Yeah, full smack from Hazel will make you cry. Okay. Well, I can't think of anything else I want to add. There'd probably be people along the shoreline here, like watching this big puppetry, because they wouldn't just be ignoring it. So there would be some more like background people and stuff like that kind of everywhere. Maybe there's someone hanging these up. I imagine for people who think in pictures, writing the words down could be much harder. I mean, I feel like that's the case for myself. I have kind of a hard time writing stuff down sometimes. I'm very good at writing essays and stuff like that, but, or at least I was when I was in college. In high school, I don't write essays anymore. Like most of my ideas come through in pictures, so writing it down usually isn't enough for me to get my point across. Yeah, this seems like a good stage. I am gonna actually take the time to save, but I think this is a good time for me to take a short break. I'm just gonna go get some water, and then when I come back we can start to clean this up a bit, because I think we have most of what we're looking for here. So I will be right back. Okay, I am back. There are so many layers here. And I forgot to save. Okay. There we go. This comic would make a great children's book. Ooh, no, I don't think children's book for the Graycove comic specifically. Like, if it was a separate thing outside of Graycove, maybe, but because we have, like, some violence and cursing and stuff like that, and the Graycove comic, it is definitely not meant for children. I could see doing a children's book in a similar art style, but having it be a separate thing. But I wouldn't want to use the Graycove characters because I wouldn't want a parent in like a hypothetical where it got published, I wouldn't want a parent to find a children's book with like the Graycove characters and then see the comic and assume that that is also safe for children to read. Because like, as I learned from working in a bookstore, a lot of parents don't fully look at a lot of the books that they buy for their kids. So if the cover looks too like childlike, especially in this art style, I have to be kind of careful and make sure I put like the warning at the beginning of the webtoon of like, hey, there's gonna be some violence, there's some language, stuff like that. You know, I just wouldn't want to risk a small child reading something that they shouldn't, you know? So we try to be very conscious of that, and like we try to put warnings and heads up where we should have them. Okay. Where do I want to start with this? Because it's kind of a mess. I think we'll start with Hazel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the opacity of everything with the far back being lighter and a little bit darker as it comes forward. And we're gonna start with these guys up front. Actually, I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn off some of these layers because they're making it a little bit hard to see. So we'll start with Hazel. And I should have been labeling my layers this entire time, but I haven't been, so we'll start now. Worst possible solution, put gore on the cover. That is part of the, like, in the like little title thing we made, that is one of the reasons why like I put a little skeleton peeking up from the bottom. And I made another cover page. I don't know where I put it. I don't know if I ever exported a full resolution of it. Let me see if I can find it, because I might show you guys. But I was kind of proud of the title page that I made, and I don't think I've shown it anywhere. Because I haven't really used it yet. Yeah, I can show you guys this. So I made a title page at some point for Graycove. This would be like a full size page, I guess. I don't know if this is what we'll end up going with if we ever need a title page, but I wanted to try making one. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how like the trees and stuff turned out. We'll see. It might not be the final one, but I thought it would be fun to try out that art style for it. Let's start with the face. That's easier. You should be looking up a little bit more. And she should be looking up a little bit more than she is here, so I'm just gonna adjust that. Her jaw would be about there. Or a little bit closer. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people being scarred by Watership Down as a kid. I never watched Watership Down as a kid, but I watched All Dogs Go to Heaven and The Secret of Nim, like a lot, and those were two of like some of my favorite movies. And I've seen like people like break them down into like, this is a traumatic childhood movie to have watched, but I don't think it felt that way at the time. But like looking back at some of the scenes, especially from All Dogs Go to Heaven, and like knowing what happened to the child actress who played the little girl in the movie, has made it so much more messed up. So now that movie makes me really, really sad. But like when you're a kid, I don't think you fully realize exactly how traumatizing it is. Because when I was a kid, I was just like, nice, dogs. Okay, I wouldn't really see these feathers on that side unless they hung down pretty far. So we'll do that. I need to watch Watership Down. I heard about the Plague Dogs too, and it's pretty brutal. Yeah. Why can't you talk about good movies, Dad? Oh yeah, my family watched Matilda a lot when I was a kid. So they quote the "Why can't you just make good cars, Dad?" a lot. Okay, maybe that's a little too far. Growing up when killer clowns, Jeff the Killer and Slenderman, gross. I think I might be a smidge older than you, Dr. Pepper. I'm not sure. I think those things were coming out when I was like a teenager, but I don't fully remember. Okay, I think, because she normally has 2 piercings in, so I think the one on top would be like her regular piercing that she usually has, but the other one would be specifically her feather earrings. My uncle let me watch Boy in the Striped Pajamas when I was a kid. Yeah, my grandma did that to me too. She did not fully understand what that movie was about when she... I mean, I'm sure she knew that it was like a Holocaust movie, but I don't think she knew how traumatizing the ending would be. But yeah, I watched that when I was probably too young. Y'all are talking about this stuff and it's making me question if I'm mature enough to actually keep reading Graycove. Graycove, like, it's gonna get darker, but it's not gonna get... Like, you've seen the level that we're going to with it in terms of, like, maturity rating, so, like, the cursing that they do here, like, it's not gonna get worse. They're not gonna start dropping the F-bomb every third panel. The level of violence that we show is gonna be like kind of similar. Like we can't go too crazy. We're not gonna be showing gore or anything like that, partially because Webtoon won't let us. So yeah, I think you're fine to keep reading, bud. I think I need to make her neck longer. And I made that far earring too long. A lot of us who ended up with unrestricted internet access ended up majorly traumatized off the stuff at like 12. Yeah, I also grew up without really having any restrictions to the internet. Oh, hi, you streaming? Hi, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're streaming. Don't know what to say. I really like watching your work, and you have really cute voice, so calm. Well, thank you. That's nice to hear. I've been told by more than one person I have a calm voice. I got that feedback at work once, which was strange to hear from a customer. They came into the store after we had talked on the phone, and they were like, I talked to a person on the phone with a very calm voice. I was like, okay, that was me, I think. And by I think, I mean I know, because I have your account up. I saw a Nazi Germany graphic novel where everybody was mice. I personally feel like we shouldn't do that. Yeah, Mouse. We used to sell that at the bookstore that we worked at. And I think doing that makes it easier and more accessible for younger people. Because if you're showing like gross, horrific things happening to human beings, then usually they age restrict us, so you can't read it unless you're like 18 plus. But I think it makes it a little bit more palatable, I guess, for younger people. But I can see absolutely where you're coming from, and like I haven't read the book all the way through, so like I, you know, take that with a grain of salt. I forgot children read that. Makes sense, actually. Yeah, so I think it's just to make it easier for young children to read without like completely traumatizing them, but it's a way to still teach them the history because it's very important that they learn about it. But yeah. Thank you for joining us, Milk Searcher. Have a good rest of your night. Somehow my school Chromebooks have banned documentaries on the formation of the moon, but not suggestive Let's Play videos with lots of swearing. That's very strange. I don't know why they would do that. probably at least try to match the feathers on the other side. Can you tell me how to start? Are you a furry like I am, or you just draw anthropomorphic creatures? So yeah, we're not furries. We're gonna get called furries until the day that we die. That's fine. Nothing against furries. We just aren't. And we did not start the series thinking that it was a furry comic. But we also knew that it would be popular with the furry community. Or we thought it might be. We didn't know for sure. So you know, we were going for more of like an Adventure Time-esque style. Of just very cartoony anthropomorphic animals. And that's it. Thanks for joining us, Luke. Hope we can see you next time. Good night, Dr. Dro. Thank you for joining us. Was Russell coddled or spoiled at all in childhood? Buying an emo feels like a large investment. No, I don't think he would be overly spoiled. I feel like him and Hazel would get about the same like treatment when they were kids. They wouldn't, you know, spoil one more than the other. Them getting Russell and Emu was largely a security thing. Because he is such a small guy, they were worried about his safety because, like, he could just be lifted off by a bird, you know? He's only 2 feet tall. He's a little guy. And emus are surprisingly good for security. For example, people who have pet emus, if a coyote gets into their pen, it won't live very long. Like, they're very fast, they have very strong kicks, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, they got him Beatrice. Yeah, he's 2 feet tall. So they got him Beatrice for his safety, especially like if he is going out the amount that he does by himself. It's good for him to have some form of protection with him. And over top of her shawl here. But yeah, so they wouldn't have the same fears for Hazel because obviously a bird's not going to be able to carry her off. And they taught her fighting, which helps. But like, even if they taught Russell as much self-defense as they could, he is still 2 feet tall. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that they literally threw Hazel into a pen while Russell had a king-size bed and the whole house is a bedroom. Wow, interesting. Yeah, exactly. You know, I've done a couple sketches, but at one point they shared a bedroom when they were younger. And they had kind of like bunk beds. But eventually Russell got really sick of sharing a bedroom with Hazel, and they were getting like too old to be sharing a bedroom. Because if she cracked her back in the middle of the night, she would light up the entire room like a nightlight. So he just kept waking her up, and eventually he got sick of it. And he turned one of the closets in the house into his bedroom. Would you rather fight 10 Russell-sized Hazels or 1 Hazel-sized Russell? That's a good question. Probably 1 Hazel-sized Russell. If I had to pick. That would still be terrifying. Hazel's over 6 feet tall. Is bribery an option? Hazel-sized Russell would be easy to bribe. That is true. And Russell doesn't really know how to fight. How tall is Griff? I think in the height chart I made, he was like 5'5". I have a height chart somewhere. And I think Herb, without his antlers, is around 7 feet tall. Hiya, love your animations and the webcomics, just curious, but how do you decide on an audio source for an animation? So all of the audio that I get is from TikTok, so I post on there first. So I'll just browse through TikTok and send them to myself. So like I have so many, and like I only use like 1 out of 10 that I send myself, maybe. So it just kind of depends. If I can visualize characters saying the lines to each other, then it works. I'm very strict about them, so like I don't like anything with a laugh track. If they're talking about like current or like modern technology, I usually don't use them. So like it has to kind of fit the context, which can also be tricky, but sometimes. I don't know why I thought he'd be taller than me. Didn't even realize that was something I had thought about. Yeah, in saying that he's 5'5", I'm realizing that he would be around my height, which is kind of funny to think about. Interesting, I'm gonna try that because I've been wanting to make an animation like yours, but with my own OCs, haha. Yeah, that's awesome. Go for it. I think doing so has gotten like pretty popular within the last couple years. Because there's quite a few people who do it now, and I like seeing them. They're fun to watch. I think it's interesting to see how much context and information you can give about a character while using like just a 10-second audio clip. I actually started watching Bob's Burgers because of your animations. Awesome. It is one of my favorite shows. I've watched through it more times than I should admit. We're probably going to be wrapping up in about 15 minutes here. So if you have any final questions for us, now is the time to ask them. Unfortunately, I was right in that we're definitely not finishing this tonight, obviously. But like, I think we came up with some really fun ideas together, and it's cool to get them, you know, kind of drawn out. I don't know if this is going to be the official coloring page. I might start over just to try and get maybe a bit better of a composition, but we got some really good stuff out of this. So we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Like, I might make some adjustments and stuff later. I started drawing because of Graycove on that topic. Aw, that's nice. I've had a lot of people comment that seeing Graycove has gotten them to start drawing again or get into drawing. And that always just makes me feel so nice because drawing is such a wonderful hobby and outlet. So it always makes me really happy to hear that people are getting into the same hobby that I have, and that brings me so much joy. And that's just really nice to hear. Ads are kind of funny because I just heard you talking, then bam, filing taxes sucks. Yeah, doing my taxes now with all the Graycove stuff is especially annoying. My mom used to be able to just do it for me using like a little like at-home computer kit, and that was really nice. But now that we have like YouTube and Webtoon and Coffee and I work for some other guys, it's just way too complicated, so we have to use an accountant. And I always feel really bad showing up with just like a pile of paperwork being like, here you go, money man, please help me. What are your plans for Graycove besides the comic? Obviously the comic is the biggest thing at the moment. We'd eventually like to bring out some merch and stuff. That would be really cool. We don't have a ton of disposable income at the moment, especially like with our wedding coming up and everything. So like we can't really put the investment into getting a bunch of merch made. So that's tricky. But yeah, we have quite a few. We have a very long idea for the comic, like multiple books worth of ideas that will take us years and years and years to finish. And yeah, like animations and stuff that I'd like to make. I want to recreate the Russell and Hazel rigs that I have for animating. And like, I probably don't have time to make long animations. They'd probably be like 10 seconds or something, but that would still be very fun. But I don't have a ton of time to do that at the moment. Graycove movie when? Yeah, we definitely don't have the time to make an entire movie at the moment. That would require an entire team of animators, artists, just everything. That's a huge project to uptake. And again, don't have the funding for that. we should give Beatrice like a little flower crown or something on her head. In reality, I think this would be very annoying to an emu. But in this world, it's fine. Get some flowers in there. Some leaves sticking out. Because today she is getting treated like a little queen. What if Beatrice and Night means Bird got married? I think there's a bit of a size difference there. I've heard it said that the best practice for art is to copy those who you wish to draw like. What are your thoughts on this? I do think that that is a really good practice if that's the specific style that you want to draw in. And like I think it's good to have a wide range in drawing ability and like different styles and stuff. So like the best advice that I heard that I continue to repeat is to learn how to draw realistically first, because once you can do that, you can translate it into basically anything. You know, it's easier to know how to draw it in detail and like all the little things that go into it, and then simplify it from there. And that's kind of where you get different art styles from. But it's definitely very good practice to try drawing in that style that you admire, that you want to be able to draw in. So one really fun exercise if you want to learn how to do backgrounds is to take a picture of a room in your house, trace over that so it's just bare lines of like counter, fridge, stove, stuff like that. Doesn't need to be super detailed. And then sketch over top of that to change it into the style of whatever TV show, comic, you know, whatever that you like. So we did this in school. I chose my apartment kitchen that I had at the time, and I drew it in the style of Amphibia, and that one was so fun. You know? And it was a really good practice for that. It was a wonderful exercise. So can't suggest that more, or do what we did in some previous streams where you take a character and you try drawing them in different art styles. So like you taking, if it was myself, just taking Hazel and drawing as like the Lilo and Stitch style, and like drawing it in the Bojack style, and all of these different things just to practice. And it's really good, especially if you want a career in art. If you're wanting to work like in animation, work for a studio, you have to be able to adapt to whatever art style that project or TV show, whatever, uses. So yeah, that's always good practice, but it depends what you want to do with it, I guess. You should draw Russell in the style of this artist named M.A. Marshall. I do that every damn day. what is your full-time job right now, if you don't mind me asking? My full-time job right now is Graycove stuff. So making YouTube shorts, working on the comic, doing these streams, and just everything else that goes into it. And then part-time, I also do work for Red Pants Productions. You can find their channel. It's on my channel. I have like a link to theirs somewhere. So I started with them doing concept art for their backgrounds for a show Bible that they were putting together, and now I make shorts for their channel. Okay. I think we're gonna end the stream here. I am starting to get tired, but this was a very fun exercise. I know we're nowhere near close to having this one finished. This one's gonna need quite a bit of work. I knew that coming into it. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to work on it in the next coming week or so we might pick up in the next stream. I'm not really sure yet. I usually decide the day of what we're doing. But yeah, I think this was a really fun concept at the very least to come up with. And these sketches were really helpful in kind of fleshing out the idea. And it was nice to hear your guys' thoughts and everything on it. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time.